Hi, welcome back to another video. And today I'll be doing my May 2025 governor election predictions video. These are videos I do every once a month on where I think these two elections would be as of right now if they were held today. This day, this moment. So these two elections I have talked about a lot. I have talked about these all the starting of the year. This is the fifth time I've made one of these prediction videos. And I've talked about Virginia quite a lot. Because Virginia is going to be very interesting to see how it shifts. But as of right now, I still think it's going to shift likely Democrat. Um, because, right, we now have, right, our nominees are now chosen. Winston Sears is going to be backed by the Republican State Party in Virginia, and Abigail Spanberger is going to be backed by the State Democratic Party in um, any primary challenge now has been eliminated because the candidates now have been unable to really kind of pile up any sort of money or resources to be able to combat either Winston Sears or Abigail Spanberger. So, come on primary day, when the election takes place, really Winston Sears and Abigail Spanberger will easily win their primary by 100% of the vote, unless there's some sort of write-in, which I don't think is going to happen, and both Sears and Spanberger will win their primaries easily, and they will both face each other in. Now, there has been some new polling done within this month, because we didn't get any, let me bring it up here, because we didn't get any polls, for months, and now we have gotten 3 new polls within the month of May. So as you can see here, and all of these polls here, as you can see, have been led by Spanberger. Again, Spanberger, these are 2 polls done through May 9th to May 13th, 2025, where Spanberger led by 48% compared to Sears' 45%, and then she also led by 52% compared to Sears' 48%. Now, I think this poll done between May 12th and May 19th, 2025 is a bit ridiculous, where they have Sears at 26% and Spanberger at 43%. Like I said, I think that Spanberger is going to win, but obviously not by this amount. This is unrealistic. I don't think it's going to happen. Spanberger is definitely not going to win by double digits here. And I think the reason why Sears is so low here is because look how high the undecided is compared to there's no undecided here. We also see the same here when you also have the undecided 14%, and Spanberger has a 6-point lead here. And also, this is another good example where both of their percentages in this poll are so low, and then you have the undecided at 47%, which made sense because in September of 2023, nobody was thinking or even talking about this race. But now here we are in May of 2025, and we have Spanberger still leading. Now, like I said, this poll is ridiculous. I really wouldn't, I wouldn't take it too seriously. However, these 2 polls here, these are good polls, right? You have Spanberger leading about 3 to 4 points, which I think is very. I think it's accurate. I think it's very accurate, and I think that Spanberger, at most, like I said, she is not going to be winning by double digits here, but she is going to win. At most, I think by 8 points. At most, max is 8 points, lowest probably 3 points, but somewhere around 5 to 6 points she'll win. And I don't think she'll have much of a challenge. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the summer campaign goes. Both candidates are starting to amp up their campaigns. They're going to start running ads. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how all of that goes. But by the end of the day, as of right now, I think that Spanberger really has it in the bag, but not obviously by a landslide. And I think she'll win the likely. Now, New Jersey is very, very interesting. New Jersey I really haven't talked much about New Jersey, and there's been a lot of talk with the Democratic primary. And as of right now, it looks like if I can get to the polling here, because there's so many candidate endorsements, oh my goodness, if I can get to there, we go. Here's the polling. So the polling suggests, which I'm not surprised, Mikie Sherrill, right? She is going to be the nominee. It looks like it. She's been leading in the polls, other than the undecided here. Last poll, she won 28%. Josh Geimer got 11%. Stephen Phillip got 11%. Right? All these candidates have not gotten up to where she is as of right now. So it looks like she seems to be the clear frontrunner in this primary. You could also see this with endorsements too. where Sherelle really has the most endorsements. The only one who comes really close to this is Sweeney. How does Sweeney do in these polls? It doesn't look like he's in here. If he is, oh, he is. Okay, he has 5% in this poll. 5%, 7%, 9, 8, 7, 6, 9, 5. So really, despite the endorsements, he doesn't really do well in polling. You know, he's gotten a whole bunch of endorsements, but it really hasn't done much. It really hasn't upped his numbers. Sherelle still is at 28%, and she'll probably most likely win the primary, and then she's going to be facing off whoever leads Republican primary here. Let me find the polls here. There we go. So, as you can see here, endorsements. We have, obviously, Jack here getting the most here. This Republican primary has been not really noticeable. I really haven't heard much of this. But the polling is kind of what I expected it to be, where you kind of see Jack here with that lead, right? With that, lead, him leading over the other candidates. I mean, if you took anyone in New Jersey and you took out Jack and you said, do you know all of these people? And they're probably not going to say no. But if you tell them about Jack, right, they are going to remember Jack from the 2021 governor election where he narrowly lost to Phil Murphy when Phil Murphy was able to win re-election here. And, Phil Murphy won by 3 points. Jack lost by 3 points. So now Jack is attempting to make this... wrong one. Jack is trying to make this political comeback here. And it looks like he is currently on track to win the Republican primary. Meaning, if Sherelle also wins the Democratic primary, Jack will be facing her. Sure, it isn't the same, opponent, but at least he gets his chance. At least he gets his opportunity to really come back here and once again become the Republican nominee for a second time in a row. And he becomes the Republican nominee. Sherelle becomes the Democrat nominee. So that is who we are possibly facing here. Now, I said months ago, the last time I talked about this race here, I've talked about in every one of my month prediction videos, but this is the first time where I'm really going in depth with this. But this is really the first time where we really begin to get an understanding on who these two nominees are, and it looks like it's going to be Mikie Sherelle and Jack. So, who is going to come out on top? Well, I think we need a lot of more polling here until we get a good idea. I'm not sure if there is no polling for a general election because there are so many candidates in the Democratic and Republican primaries here. So the primaries have been much more interesting and much more competitive than Virginia has been. Virginia has eliminated any possibilities of a competitive primary, while New Jersey has really embraced it. So it looks like that Mikie Sherelle, and Jack are going to become the Democratic and Republican nominees. Now, if any of their primary opponents, make some sort of comeback here, I will not be surprised. But as of right now, it looks very unlikely, and those two will probably become the nominees. Now, who comes out on top? I'm not certain. We really have to get polling, which is why I've constantly been using the polling we've gotten from in Virginia, to really show why I believe that Spanberger will come out on top. Now, if we're looking at New Jersey here, right, Donald Trump barely lost New Jersey in 2024. He barely lost it. If you compare New Jersey, to other elections, right, Harris won this state. That's Maryland. Harris won the state by almost 6 points. In 2020, Biden won it by a very comfortable margin of 15 points. That is a 10-point shift to the right compared to 2020 to 2024. In 2016, when Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump lost the state of New Jersey to Hillary Clinton, Hillary won it by 14 points. 14 points. You're beginning to see why 2024 was a bad performance for the Democrats for New Jersey. Right, New Jersey, in 2012, Obama defeated Mitt Romney by 17 points. In 2008, 15 points. He defeated McCain. So you're starting to see the pattern here. 2024 was a very, very poor performance in New Jersey here, and it's why many suggested if Biden was the nominee, he could have lost New Jersey to Donald Trump. But that is not what happened with Kamala Harris. She was able to win it by 6 points, but it was a very, very low underperformance for Kamala Harris and the Democrats. And in the process, she was able to tank a lot of congressional races here that happened in New Jersey. And it's why Republicans have been looking so interesting, or have been so eager to look at the New Jersey governor race. And it's why many believe that Republicans have a real clear shot here. Now, will they win? I don't think so. As of right now, it's hard to tell, but I think Democrats barely win. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. And as we go on later, we will see how it develops and how it goes down. But anyways, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.